Lionel, is that you?
There, I think I got it. Okay, so this is a podcast. This is another podcast. And, Daniel, what does tactile mean?
Tactile by hand, sense, feel.
That's a pretty big word. I didn't know you knew words that big.
I'm like a Derek Light.
You're a Derek Light?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So are you insinuating that Derek is heavy for his height? Or?
Vocabulary and depth.
Oh, okay. Not physically. You don't mean that he's overweight.
No, I think I got him by a few pounds that way.
All right, let's get right to it. I'm excited to have this conversation. So tonight we're going to talk to Alex Lang. What's the middle initial? P or something? Well, no, and somewhere I have I think it's on Facebook. You have Alex something Lang.
It's Jerome Alexander Lang.
That's
actually.
right, Alex J. Lang. I guess there are lots of Alex Langs in North America, isn't there?
There's a couple, but yeah, my first name is actually Jerome.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, my wife did that for years. She went by her second name, and then she hated her first name. She didn't hate her first name. She didn't like it as being referred to that, and she was named after her aunt. So then for her 30th birthday, I think it was her 30th or 35th, we went and had her named reversed, and she's been happy ever since. She's still named after her aunt. Yeah, she's still named after her aunt, which she loves. And her first name, because, anytime people would call her, they'd all, if she was at the hospital or whatever, and wherever she had to hand in her license or her medical information, they would always refer to her by the first name, which drove her nuts.
I'm used to that, but I was raised going by Alex, even though my first name is Jerome.
Okay, so was there another Jerome in your family, or how did it end up being Alex?
My grandfather, my dad's dad, passed away when my dad was 5, and his name was Jerome. So they wanted to honor him, but they also didn't want to spook my grandmother with somebody else named Jerome.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, see, I was named after my grandfather, who passed away before I was born. And then I was like, if later years, I would say to my mom, like, why did you? Strang is an unusual last name. Lionel is an unusual first name. It was my public school career was long and drawn out because of that.
I just figured you were named for the 3-rail O gauge.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Lionel's a very popular name in Great Britain, which is where my grandfather was from. Okay, so Alex J. Lang is the owner of the Station Inn in Crescent, Pennsylvania. And we had him on, you were on a year or two ago. And I wanted to check back in with you to see what was going on. And then I decided Chris Wallace, who we've interviewed several times over the last 6 months, who owns Wallace Locomotive Works, a 3D printing company. And he has the cheapest 3D prints in North America.
Oh, man.
Hi, Chris.
How's it going? Long time no talk.
Indeed.
And he was just staying at this Station Inn, so I thought he'd be ideal to join us. And then we have Daniel Banks, who's Daniel, who has also stayed at the Station Inn. I've stayed at the Station Inn, and the only one that refuses to do it is the modeler simply known as Kelly.
That's because I don't fly anymore.
Yeah, but you were out there last year. You could have gone and stayed there. You've been there. How long have you owned the Station Inn, Alex?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let me think. 3 years.
3 years. How long has the Station Inn been the Station Inn?
32 years.
And so, Kelly, since the age of 40, you could have easily gone and stayed there.
Yeah, that's true.
People do use other modes of transportation to get there.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't drive. No, that's too far.
How far would far be, Kelly?
I'm in Medford, Oregon.
Well, yeah, now.
Oh, okay,
now he is. But he only moved out there, 10 years ago?
I'll give you a sort of a pass, though. That is a long drive.
Yeah, but
Plus,
he was just in Springfield last January.
Yeah, and I got sick.
Well, yeah, but you could have gone
And that
to
was in Massachusetts. That was up in Massachusetts. So I was, my time was limited.
Oh, okay. And then you were you went to Tom Stock?
Yeah, but I spent time with,
Why didn't
Wayne
you want
Godshell up in at his factory making the H10.
Okay.
Checking out.
So will you never travel east of the Mississippi ever again?
Probably. I'm afraid I'm going to die or something. God, every time I went to Springfield, I get sick.
And this time, Alex, Kelly got so sick from Springfield that you were in the hospital for how long?
2 weeks, over 2 weeks. And I remember some of it, and my wife says, you don't remember everything. So I was pretty much out of it. And,
I'm still convinced he was faking it. He just wanted to rest.
A lot of people got sick from that show this year. My father did. He was in the hospital too.
Really? Your father got sick enough to be in the hospital?
Yeah, they did. I think he said he had COVID or something, and it was enough that he was in the hospital for at least a week, maybe a week and a half. He started feeling it like maybe the week after, or a little less, and he said Wednesday. He goes, "Nah, I'm calling the ambulance. I'm going right to the hospital." And he was there a couple of days. Fever was high, and he said he felt like absolute crap, and it just seemed to get worse. And then all of a sudden, the medicine kicked in, and it was a whole different thing.
I wonder if it's like a value-added ticket. You can buy
it. Comes with a month's worth of medical insurance.
Yeah, it comes with a month's. Yeah, that's what they could do.
Yeah.
Start selling medical insurance. That's not a bad idea. I got sick, but it was only a couple of days worth. I mean, if I've been to Springfield, I don't know how many times I've been, but let's say for argument's sake, I've been a dozen times. If I've been a dozen times, 9 times out of that, on the way home, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm sick. It's an 8-hour drive.
27,000 people.
Yeah, it's an 8-hour drive. It's an 8-hour drive, and about 3 hours east of Buffalo, I start going, yeah, I got something.
We went, and my wife ended up with COVID, but I managed to avoid it. But I got sick. It just wasn't COVID. So Springfield is a massive, massive petri dish at probably the worst time of the year to be hanging out in a gigantic petri dish.
Well, we're really selling it, aren't we? Hey, come on out.
I mean, it's great, but it is the side effect,
Yeah, it is.
Strengthen your immune system.
I think,
right?
Well, there you go. That's a great way to strengthen your immune system. I mean,
no, it doesn't work.
Springfield, if it doesn't kill you, it'll boost your immunity.
If it doesn't kill you. Oh, jeez.
Well, and Kelly, how do you know it doesn't boost your immune system?
How do I know? I got sick every time I came back.
Well, yeah, but you're still alive, aren't you?
Well, not
so. Maybe you would have gotten so sick you wouldn't have survived if you hadn't gone to Springfield.
That costs that.
Yeah.
That's a reach. That's a stretch.
I think I got it from the flying in the petri dish, the flying petri.
Well,
dish.
yeah, if you fly, then you've doubled your petri dish exposure.
Especially when the aircraft flew to the next leg, I walked out to go look for my next ramp, whatever,
gate,
and next gate, and as I'm walking away from the gate that I just disembarked from, I looked up and I saw Medford. So I got back I had to get back on the same plane with the same people. So for the trip cross country, who knows?
He got off and then got back on the same plane.
Sounds like Southwest.
No, it was actually United.
Now, is there any? I'm assuming at the Station Inn, it's not any kind of a petri dish.
No.
Jeez.
No, everything is kept sterile at the Station Inn.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're going to get to the Station Inn, but first, before we talk about the Station Inn, we have to talk about whiterosehobbies.com because they are now the official sponsor of the AML network, and they are in York, Pennsylvania, at 4401 West Market Street in York, Pennsylvania. And their phone number is 717-505-8676. And you know what our favorite part of White Rose Hobbies is, Alex?
I don't.
Under retail and racing, they have a page full of Jelly Belly snacks.
Yeah, sweets and treats.
Sweets and treats. And they're reasonably priced too.
Oh, they're a good hobby shop. I buy online from them.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Perfect. There you go. That's a good response, Alex.
Plus, my wife is from New York, so you gotta love them.
Oh,
Is she?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I've written down a couple of notes here from things that people have said, but let's kind of go for a brief history of what the Station Inn is. It's been there for how long? Like, how long has the building been there?
It was built in 1866 as the Callan House. And so it was built as a hotel for weary railroad travelers coming off of the pretty brand new Pennsylvania Railroad.
And I don't fully understand that, but so travelers leaving New York or Philadelphia, anywhere on the East Coast, this would be a stop that they would make?
I am not an expert in this, but my understanding is that sleeping car service wasn't introduced until something like the 1880s. And so if you wanted to sleep, you got off the train and slept in a hotel, got something to eat, and then got back on the train. So I remember reading that the earlier trains really didn't have amenities. You just rode on the train, and that sounds not so fun. I like amenities.
Yeah, exactly. And so there must have been several of these stops along the way in the very early days of rail travel. And what was it called? What was the name of the building?
Callan House, Callan. Yeah.
Okay. And so how long did it remain in service as that? Do you know?
I believe by the early 1900s, it was called the Commercial Hotel and stayed that into at least World War II. The bar in the basement opened in 1904, and it's kind of a speakeasy style, but I haven't been able to confirm or deny that it actually operated as a speakeasy per se, although that would be pretty neat if it did. So I just pretend that it did.
Yeah, I would go with that.
Right? It's
the very nature of a speakeasy is it probably wasn't written down a lot.
That's a good point.
And technically, what is a speakeasy for those people that don't understand that? Daniel, you'll be well versed in this, I'm sure.
So during the Prohibition era, if one wanted to imbibe and have an alcoholic beverage, you needed to be able to find a place to do that where you wouldn't get busted. And so speakeasies were super low-key looking establishments that didn't look like a bar, but served that function. And you usually had to know somebody to get in.
And how come I knew that you would know something about them?
You know, it's a place for rule breakers. So it's kindred spirits.
So is the Station Inn. It is the bar is pretty unassuming from the outside. It just looks like a basement entrance.
Yes, it does.
So this lends some credence to this theory. I'm going to run with that.
And how much do you enjoy? I'm sure it's not front and center, but I'm sure it's an ongoing process in the back of your mind. How much do you enjoy investigating the history of the Station Inn?
I haven't spent a ton of time doing that, to be honest. I tend to be more of a future-looking kind of person. So I'm thinking about what we're going to do next. How can we make it better? How can we make it more inviting for guests? We've done a little bit of research on the past, and that's how I know what bits and pieces I do know. So to sort of finish the arc of the inn, I don't know really well what happened in the 50s or 60s, but by the 70s, the restaurant and bar were definitely open as kind of a town local hangout joint. And the upstairs had been subdivided into apartments. And so Tom Davis, rail fan and retired educator from New Jersey, Tom Davis looked far and wide for a place to set up shop as a rail fan bed and breakfast and found the Station Inn. And so it opened in 1993 as the Station Inn bed and breakfast.
And then Tom, what was his last name?
Davis.
He owned it up until just 3 years ago when he passed away.
Yep.
And you got to be close friends with him.
This is true.
To the point where he would spend some Christmases or Thanksgivings with you and your family.
That's right.
Yeah, well, it's interesting to fill all this in because I'm sure there's as hard it is to believe, I'm sure there are some people that haven't listened to every single podcast, and some of them twice. And I'm fascinated too, because I like to review this stuff. So yeah,
well, it's a neat story, So Tom got a lot of he did all of his advertising in Rail Pace News magazine and a little bit in some of the other mags, but most of us Gen X rail fans remember seeing the ad that Tom had in Rail Pace, watch the trains from our front porch, over 50 trains a day, 15 minutes from Horseshoe Curve. And growing up as a Conrail geek, the idea of being able to sleep in Railfan Mecca and have someone serve you breakfast and not miss a train was just a religious draw that you could not really turn away from. And so I got to first visit in 1994 with a friend of mine and loved it. And then I went to college in the late 90s, and Tom was so busy and he only had a couple rooms that I didn't really like. Anytime I was in the area, he was already booked up. But by the early 2000s, I was living in Pittsburgh by then, and Tom wanted to do a website. And so that's how I got to really start to know Tom better, was in the early 2000s with my buddy Lou Capwell. And he and I built the first website for Tom. And over the years, got to be friends with Tom and invited to Tom's different events and gatherings, and made a lot of friends that way through those sort of annual traditions. But it wasn't until I introduced Tom to she wasn't my wife when I introduced him, but I think he probably liked her more than he liked me, which is easy to understand. She's much more charming than I am. But that's when we really started to hang out more and kind of get the families involved and all of that. So we were looking for a place to have our wedding. Because we're both from the eastern side of the state, my wife Leah is from York and I'm from Allentown originally. We were looking for a more central location for our Pittsburgh friends and then our east side family and friends. And so Tom offered up his place for our wedding reception. And my wife said, "Gee, that's great, but we absolutely cannot get married at Horseshoe Curve. Find a normal venue. We'll get married at a normal venue and we'll have the party at Tom's and that'll be great." Guess where we got married? No place else was open, and Horseshoe Curve was only $250. So that's where we hitched the knot.
How many trains went by during the ceremony?
3.
Oh wow!
And everybody stopped to look.
Was it a Monday?
About 30 Mennonites used the bathroom and the soda machine during the ceremony. that was all right next to where we stood, and it was very loud.
So you mean you got married in the pavilion at Horseshoe Curve?
Yeah, out in that open air area between the museum and the gift shop.
You're like the bravest guy I ever met.
Yeah, or dumbest.
Yeah, but isn't that kind of the magic of this whole story, though? Is that when Tom passed away, and then it was left to his brother to make some sort of arrangements with it, and they decided to sell it. And then you stepped up. But a lot of the fact that you stepped up to buy it is because your wife was almost the one that wanted to buy it. Like, she has been very, very supportive of the whole situation.
That's right. A lot of people, when they don't know the backstory, they'll ask me like, "Oh, how does your wife put up with this? How does she tolerate it?" Sort of assuming that the whole thing is like a big railfan boondoggle. And they're always surprised when I say, "No, this was her idea." I mean, all of us who stay there regularly were worried about the future, and we were hoping that it would go to someone after Tom's chapter closed, so to speak. But I think I felt like I was too close to Tom to even bring it up. I almost felt like it was disrespectful or something. Hard to describe exactly.
Sure, yeah.
Like the line I wasn't comfortable crossing, and my wife started to say, as Tom was declining, we got to do something. We need to find a way to let them know that we're interested. And so ultimately my wife wrote a letter to Tom that we were pretty sure he did read before he passed. And so it's through that the family knew that we were interested ultimately.
Yeah. Like, that's kind of like, I think it comes through, like, to me, the Station Inn now seems very, very successful. Like, I feel like with you and your wife's guidance, the Station Inn is taking on a new life. That's almost kind of like, man, this is my favorite train watching spot, and now it's even way cooler than it was before.
I love hearing that, because that's the mission, right? That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah, and I mean, I know you and your wife have put a lot. Like, I every time we talk. I love retelling this story of I interviewed you just as you purchased it. We sat on the front porch of the Station Inn, and I kept thinking to myself, now that I know you well, and I could say we're friends, could I not?
But yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
We're certainly very good acquaintances.
Yes.
I remember sitting there on the front porch, and I'm asking you questions, and I'm thinking halfway through, I'm thinking to myself, does this guy know what he got himself into, or he seems awfully nervous about this whole thing? But I guess part of the apprehension was the fact that you don't live anywhere near it. You live like near Pittsburgh. You're what, an hour and a half or 2 hours away?
That's right, an hour and a half away.
Yeah. So how often do you get over to the Station Inn?
About once every 4 to 6 weeks.
And do you go every 4 to 6 weeks? Do you go for 2 or 3 days? I
try to. Yeah. But there's been definitely times where somebody just has to make a run up there to sign something or pick up something or who knows what. You know, we've definitely made lots of sorties to Crescent.
Yeah, but those trips, probably an hour and a half seems very doable when, like, we got to go by on Saturday and pick up X.
Yeah. It's a podcast, maybe a couple of songs, a phone call, a Starbucks or a Dunkin' Donuts, and then you're there.
Yeah, so it's just the right amount. It's just because 2 hours would be starting to get, but an hour and a half, an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 40 minutes seems very doable when you got to just run out there and do something.
That's right.
That's my travel framing right there. I think that's good. Couple of podcasts, a Dunkin' Donuts trip or two, and that's how long the trip
or
takes.
Or a Sheetz run.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at the travel time.
Are Sheetz as far west as Indianapolis?
Not yet.
Yeah, Sheetz is a gas station, SHEETZ, which is a gas station which is very popular in the Northeast.
And Z is Z for the Americans listening.
There you go. Yeah. And there's one just down the road from the Station Inn.
Walking distance or stumbling distance, depending on your proclivities.
So all the beer you could possibly need while sitting on the front porch of the Station Inn is just down the road.
You don't even have to walk that far. There's a beer distributor a block away.
Oh, is there really?
Yeah.
And as Tom used to call it, the wet goods store, the wine and spirits. Right? Tom had quite a way with words. Tom just was. Sometimes if I'm in a situation with a guest where there's some sort of conflict, and I don't love conflict, and I don't think Tom did either, but Tom was a school district administrator, so he navigated it. He negotiated union agreements and things like that. And so I sometimes have to invoke, what would Tom say in this situation? And there's sort of a pattern to it, and I'll share it if that's interesting to you.
Absolutely.
So you sort of start out with an observation that's somewhat tangential, but related enough to whatever point you're trying to make. So, for example,
can I just stop you there?
Yeah.
You use too many big words.
Yeah, tangential is that's way out of my my orbit.
Well, all right. So I'll just give an example. So if I had a kid who was too close to the tracks and throwing rocks, it was one of these. We don't get too many situations where there's a guest that we wish we didn't have, but this was turning into one of those situations. And I was up there, and so I'll go up to the kid, and I think his mom was nearby, if I remember correctly. And so the way Tom would handle it, something like this, to point to the porch and say, that porch was built in 1866, and people have been enjoying it for many, many years, watching the trains pass by. And I think that that's probably the best place for you to enjoy the trains too. Something like that. Then you smack them with your point, because a lot of people don't get subtlety. So then you just say, get off the tracks. You can't be throwing rocks, say your piece. And then it's almost like the Tom Davis version of a management shit sandwich, if I'm allowed to say that, right? Say something nice, make your critical feedback, and then try to say something nice again. Like, hey, there's cookies in the cookie jar. Help yourself.
Okay, cool. I noticed too that, so let's just just to keep everybody up to speed, your main day job, and there's lots of real cool things about that, but your main day job is in IT. You got into IT in the late 90s, mid 90s. Is that correct?
Yes. I was one of these folks who was fortunate enough to tinker with computers since a fairly young age, but didn't have any understanding or appreciation that it could be a career. And so I went to college for music, realized pretty quickly that I would end up poor if I stayed in that direction. And that was at a time when the World Wide Web was pretty new. And so it took a few years of stumbling and bumbling, but eventually that's where I ended up.
I think Daniel, didn't we not have a conversation kind of like that a little while ago where you said you're in IT and you'd started many years ago, and I said, well, that's kind of the same as Alex. You got in just at that time when you didn't need a 4-year university course to be hired by some company for IT.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I noticed you. So the reason I brought that up, Alex, is because your website seems to just get better and better. Now that's what you do. That's what you know. And like you say, you helped build the website for Tom originally.
That's right. That's kind of funny in its own right, because I've moved into less hands-on, more managerial roles over the last few years and haven't kept up with the detailed technology quite as much. And so I had to jump back into it in order to reinvigorate the website. But we did have some professional help and people to help kind of keep me on the rails, so to speak. And so, yeah, it's been fun. The other thing I can say about the current website is that we rely very heavy on professional photography that I did not take. I'm half decent, but professionals are way better than half decent.
Yes, let's go over that again, because, I remember last time we talked. Yeah, there's even a page, if you go to the stationinpa.com, send your friends, tell all your neighbors. After you go to whiterosehobbies.com, which Alex buys lots of stuff from. And you know what, Alex, next time you order something from them, ask for Thomas or Ryan and tell them Lionel sent you.
Okay.
And see if that helps. If it's something you really, really want, it might not help. But
right. Hey, I heard this is out of stock. Lionel sent me. Oh, sorry.
So that's kind of cool, because on your website, photography of trains, history, techniques, and must follow up pros. It's there's basically a page of instructions about how to take good photos of trains. And what made you think of doing that?
I didn't think of it. This is one of these things where you let experts be experts, as our friend Dave Abeleys would say. So I know how to build a website. I don't know as well the whole search engine optimization world. And so we have a company that does marketing. They help us with our email newsletter. They help us with SEO, and they help us write some of the content that's on our website. And so the suggestion was you basically try to figure out what people are looking for more information on that's related to your business, and start putting this content up, because people looking will then find your website, and a few of them might say, oh, this is a neat place to go. And I was a bit trepidatious about all of that, because the Station Inn is a place where we want the experts to hang out. But I know that Tom believed, and we believe, that part of our role is to make it easier for the next generation to get into the hobby. And that's part of the fun is, you see younger people. I was one of them. Talking on the porch to the old timers about this and that, and what train is this, and how does that work, and why did this happen? And anyway, we came to realize that there are a lot of younger rail fans that are looking for information, and our place is a great place for younger but not too young rail fans to stay, because there are people there that you can talk to and learn from. So in the spirit of all that, we've been putting more entry level content on our website to try to help those folks out and point them in the right direction.
That's how I started.
Is that how you started?
Yeah, I've been down there religiously for like the last 13 years. I mean,
okay, so that's important. That's why Chris is here.
I was young. I was a young kid. My first trip was out there. Tom, took the train out. It was only like 5-6 hour train ride, whatever it might be, and I fell in love at the first train to go by, and at midnight the SD80 Max are roaring by on a coal train, loaded, and it's waking you up out of a sound sleep, and you're just like, that's cool. See the train go by, fall back to sleep, and you'll sit there on the porch all night. You'll get like probably 3-4 hours of sleep with all the trains at night, and you still feel refreshed in the morning. It's wild how that happens.
Well, if not, you just take a nap.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a great place for a nap.
Well, yeah, there's a ton for people that don't know. and that are listening. And I mean, I highly recommend a visit to the Station Inn, no matter where you live in the world. Like, it's one of those. It is becoming. You can choose to agree or disagree, Alex, if you want. But I feel like with your leadership, yours and your wife's enthusiasm, I just got a feeling that the Station Inn is going to become one of the places to go. Like, it seems like you have a real passion for carrying on the legacy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's an interesting thing because I think you even heard me say this, Lionel, that part of it for me is more like I'm a caretaker of a church as opposed to a guy who owns a business, in the sense that it's Tom's community that he started, and it's something we're doing on behalf of a much larger, more timeless group of people than ourselves, and eventually we'll pass on and somebody else is going to have to run the place. But at the same time, it did start to show some wear and tear, and Tom was old school and liked to do things old school, and he only wanted cash, and people like the flexibility of credit cards, all those kinds of things. And so we are definitely putting our own spin on it, and yet still keeping it true to form, which is, it's hard to change a thing and keep it the same all at the same time. But one of the things that we love hearing from guests, and we hear this a lot, is people will come in and say, "Oh, wow, it looks so good. It looks so clean, but it looks just like I remember it." And it isn't just like they remember it. Like, we know, there's tweaks, there's little changes that have happened, but the feel of it is definitely the same.
It reminds me of a classic car. You take in
I love that.
You take in your '67 Chevelle, and you found it in a barn. Millie and Ralph owned it. They've owned it ever since they got married, but they haven't driven it for the last 20 years. And it's dragged out and it's turned over to a guy that can restore it and bring it back to its original beauty, so that they can tool around and go to car shows with it. And I kind of get the same sense. It's like, it's like a classic car. You understand that the history of it is important, but there's no reason why it can't be refurbished and brought up to an even better standard. It's not that Tom disregarded it or didn't care about it. It was just a simple case of age. And as you get older, it gets harder to do things. And right. I find that in my own life. Like, I'm turning my business over to my son, who, as best I could tell when he was a teenager, was completely useless.
Like a lot of teenagers.
Yeah. Like, cut the grass once in your life, maybe, please, I'm begging you. And, and he's a guy in his late 30s, who understands today's world. And I mean, I can see that I have to step aside and let his decisions sometimes take over, because he understands society better today. And it's the same thing. You haven't changed it. You're just making what was already there a far better experience. Not a better experience, not even more enjoyable. It's the same experience. It's like if you get to go to Disney World, but they've got new rides. You haven't been there for 10 years. It's the same experience. Yeah.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah. You still enjoy it. It's still Disney World, but hey, now they got the Star Wars thing, and hey, now they got the this, and it's just that much. And that's all you've done, is you've just made what was already a great experience an even better experience.
It's very welcoming too once you get there.
Yeah,
you walk through the door and it's like, okay, this is going to be a fun time, whether you're there for 2 days, a week, 2 weeks, whatever it may be. It's just a very welcoming, feeling once you get there, because there's so many things to see and read and history. If you like history, that's the place to be. All the stuff on the walls and stuff like that, old photos and
tons of books. We got tons of books.
Yeah, that was great.
How did the Artist in Residence program come about?
I don't really remember. That is a great question.
Okay, hang on a minute. Are some of our questions not that great?
I've heard this shtick on this podcast before.
And you walked into it anyway.
I did. Yeah, like when my dad would say, "Pull my finger," when I was a kid, and I fell for it all the time. Anyway, I had to jog my memory a second. So I think part of it was that when we first bought the place, the bar had been closed for a long time, and the dining room side, like the bar occupies half the basement. The other side was just a dingy basement storage room that used to be a dining room. And so in 2022 and into 23, we ripped out the paneling, we ripped out the drop ceiling, we discovered that there's tin ceiling on that side too, and we painted, put in new lights and fixed it up. And part of it was, hey, we need to put some stuff on these walls and make it look like something. I think, part of the idea was knowing that there are people, lots of great people making all kinds of great art about the Allegheny Mountains and specifically with the railroad. I think of, Mike Froyo was the first person that came to mind. And of course, Mike was our inaugural artist in residence, but Eric Williams is another name when you think of fine art, black and white photography of the Horseshoe Curve area. He's just doing all kinds of really cool stuff. Then there's plenty of others that I can't think of, but we felt that there was an opportunity to kind of do some horse trading and support the arts in a similar but much junior way to the CRPA folks, the Center for Rail Photography and Art, which I've been a member of that for quite some time. And so, the idea of the program is, hey, we'll let you stay for free for a couple weeks worth a year. And in exchange, we figure out what makes the most sense. But of course, we're looking for some cross promotion and some social media publicity. So in Mike's case, we still have his photography on display in the basement, and it looks so good there. I keep joking with him that it might never leave because everybody just loves it. I think we have 20 pieces hanging up right now. And so Julie Rockwell is our current artist in residence, and she's a writer. She's a researcher and a historian, which I never would have thought in a million years that it would make sense. But Mike suggested, like, hey, Julie's got this project she's trying to work on. Do you think she could come up and stay? And I thought, well, heck, she can write. She can share some of her research. So she's doing some guest blog posts and, adding to this sort of rich tapestry. I don't mean to sound corny, but it's like actually creating and contributing to what makes the area so special. So, eventually we could end up with a collection of photography and art that could then rotate through other museums in the area. And, there's a lot of big ideas that'll take time to come to fruition.
Did you say you didn't want to sound corny?
Well, I do a lot anyway. So
yeah, I was going to say that's perfect for this podcast. I know I'm going to be talking to you over the years many times about this because I think that's the magic that you are bringing. It's like you're a hockey, I'll use a hockey reference because that's my life. But it's like you're a hockey team that's one series away from winning the Stanley Cup. And it's like, you bring in that one good player. And that's the way I feel like you are. Like the Station Inn was already a great experience. And now it's got new life breathed into it. Boy, if I could talk. Yeah. And you have people come and stay for a week or two because they bring something to the Station Inn. Boy, if you could ever get on a podcast that was constantly singing your praises, you could have.
Well, so Lionel, there's one of the things about the inn that's so special is the number of people who do feel like they belong and are part of it, and they've all become almost like self-appointed deacons of the church, if you will. And so, there's a guy that will just come fix the toilets. He doesn't even ask. Like, we just know if he's staying for a couple days, he's going to go check all the toilets and replace a part here, check a float, whatever. There's another guy that helps out with the electrical. We've got a couple of woodworkers that just, they'll text me, hey, can I paint this? Hey, can I fix this up? Hey, I think this would be nice if this table was over here. I'm like, yeah, great, sure, yeah, and they don't even want me to reimburse them for supplies, so I won't let them pay for their whole stay. Like, I always want to be fair to people, but there's been a couple times where I'm at the inn and I'm trying to relax and have a good time, and boy, that's a hard line to strike sometimes because it's my place. I'm responsible. And if a toilet clogs up, they're going to come find me. But you would be surprised at the number of times where something like that would happen when I'm there. And maybe we're having a drink or three and two other guys jump in and help. And even if there's a overflowing toilet or whatever the case may be, people are helping me. I'm not in it by myself. And so this community constantly reminds me that that's why we're doing this for them.
Yeah, that's a great. Go ahead.
I have a take on the inn and you and the people that help you. I'm going to go into full on philosophical Derek mode here because
I love it.
I think it matters here. My one night stay there I was met by the innkeeper who I think is not the same person now that was there when I was there.
That could
a couple of years ago.
That sounds about right.
Met the station dog, and it was a all cylinders firing sort of thing. And when I walked up onto the front porch and I looked down the street and such, and then went inside, there's an obvious passion to it. I grew up very historically steeped. I was a historical reenactor as a kid all the way through my early 20s. So I always have a high appreciation for that. And when I step into old architecture like that, there's a feel and a vibe, and it's really easy to mess up when you go about renovating and things. And the place just reeks of the history of it. But the passion comes through in everything from understanding your guests, the dispatch sort of table there in the front window, the porch environment, that giant table in the dining room where the most amazing breakfasts are served in the morning. Just the attention to the details all over the place. It shows that you're really kind of all in, and that becomes infectious to people when they encounter it, because it's obvious you're all in. And sometimes that means making business decisions that don't look like they're profitable up front. Like short term, they're not. They're very costly. But long term, they make a huge difference. And somebody whose passion is making cash off of the deal won't do that. The person who understands what they have and that they have a duty to preserve that, improve that, absolutely lay their own personality and flavor on that while staying true to the historical structure and the purpose, is fantastic. And you've done that really, really well. It doesn't hurt that the environment you're in is fantastic. We went down and walked a block down, and I think it was a pizza place is a block from you.
Yes. There's a couple.
And
probably Vito's.
Yes, Vito's. That's where we had dinner. I mean, it was
Vito's.
fantastic that you can walk there from it. It was a drizzly night when we stayed. It was cold, but above freezing. It was a brisk but absolutely enjoyable walk down the sidewalk. Fantastic dinner, a lovely walk back. And when I came back as a side, I saw that there were. Well, the innkeeper told us there was another group coming, and I avoided a train show in my division that weekend to go to Amherst instead. And I come in and I look at the guest book to see who signed in, and they're all from Indiana. They're all from Central Indiana. I knew all those guys. And when they came back in after dinner, I was like, "Hey, shouldn't you guys be at my train show this weekend?" They're like, "Shouldn't you be there as the superintendent of the division?" I'm like, "That's fair. We'll just keep it on the down low." But yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic time, but it's your heart behind it that's very evident in the everything from the structure, the way it's decorated, down to the getting the right people to do the right job. It really makes it for a fantastic event. Hanging out there for the weekend, and the price is really, really reasonable.
Yeah, that's for sure. The prices are very reasonable. Before we get too far, I want to talk to Chris, because you say you've been there 13 times.
Probably more than that. I would think. The only time I think I missed was 2020, but that's for obvious reasons.
Sure. So you go every year, like, do you?
Yeah. I since 2012, minus 2020, I was there every year. I'm really mad I missed that streak, but I got to redo it again, you know. But no, I've been going there for just about over 13 years now.
And do you go at the same time every year or something?
It was for a while, but then it obviously changed with scheduling. But I try and at least go once a year, whether it's for a day. I've done a 24-hour trip there, just to do it. You know, I kind of, the way I document my trips out there is I go to the Juniata shops there in Altoona and take a picture of the Conrail. Oh, was the Conrail sign outside the shops with the number boards. This is 1999 too, and then they put the new year on every year at like January 2nd, and that's my documentation that I've been there. I need at least 1 year of that sign.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's how I do it every year. Like I said, except for one, but yeah, I've been going there for so long, and it's just like I said, it's so welcoming. Whether it's for a day or an extended stay like this past what was there May. It was the first time I actually spent the full week there again. It's been a couple years.
You spent a full week there?
Yeah, I was there from Friday to Friday.
And yeah, because you were the guy that was on the front porch with all his 3D stuff.
Yeah. I took over for a whole week. I was literally there. I got up at like 5-6 o'clock in the morning, and I was going to bed at like, I don't know, 1 a.m. I was getting about 4 or 5 hours of sleep, but the action would pick up at night, and I'm just not going to miss that.
Sleep is for the week.
Yeah, I'll sleep during the day if I had to.
Okay, so what kind of things did you do during the day? Did you spend most days sitting on the porch?
Yeah, I would sit on the porch, and I kind of had my own activities, and a lot of people that showed up were there, and everyone has their own things, and everyone kind of stays to themselves, but will chime in when something's going on, and some people read, some people do computer work. Some people just sit there and watch the people walk by because it's a very popular street. So you'll get people walking by and they'll say, "Hey, how you doing?" And just looking at the sights. Really.
Unicycle man. There's a guy that rides a unicycle, like a rechargeable electric unicycle, and he zips down Front Street going what looks to me to be 30 miles an hour.
Music blaring.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's impressive because that thing is one rock away from him, face planting, and it's scary. It's really scary to watch him.
It is.
There's a guy in Florida on my bike path. I'll be going down the bike path and I'll be doing 15 miles an hour, and this guy goes by me like I'm standing still. And you're thinking the same thing. He hits one stick, one rock, one pebble, and he's going to be in the bushes somewhere head first.
Yeah.
But I think those guys, I think those guys know what they're doing. And I mean, we got a guy ride around our town too, the same thing. And I mean, it's fascinating to watch. But yeah, okay, that's Unicycle Man. So if you stay for a week, where was your favorite place to go eat?
Well, Sheetz is obviously that good place to go, but I like the Brick on Front. That's fairly new, right? I think that's only like 2-3 years old now.
I'm thinking maybe 4 or 5 now, but it is still relatively new. But D does a great job. It's kind of a sports bar vibe, but the food is always great, and they have anything to drink. They've got a really good selection, and it's priced, competitively.
Yeah, I mean, I like they had like a pretzel there. That thing was just, it's like, for how much you're paying for food, you get a lot of it, and it's like really good quality too.
Yes.
And you just go down there, you pick it up, or you eat there or whatever, and you bring it back to the porch, and you just relax, watch the trains go by, and enjoy either a cold beverage and some good food.
Maybe 2 or 3. There is one other place I need to pitch, and that's over in Lilly, which is about a 10-minute drive. But the Boxcar Restaurant is right along the tracks in Lilly. Kind of a similar vibe, a little bit more of a family-style restaurant look, but they have a bar as well. And they also have a patio with outdoor seating now, so you can sit outside and watch trains go by. They also do a great job over there.
I have not been there, honestly. That was one place I missed in my time stone.
Well, you can't walk there, so that but when you're there, when you're at the inn for a week and you feel like you've done the crescent rotation of restaurants and you want to go somewhere else, that's a good place to go.
And it has a 4.6 rating on Google's. on Google. It's got 181 Google reviews with a 4.6 rating, so that's a good restaurant.
Yeah.
And how did you discover that place, Alex?
That is a great question, and it probably was somebody like
Are you
somebody
listening?
like Doug Watts. You know, it's usually Doug Watts or somebody like that who would say, "Hey, you ought to go over here." And I usually take advice like that when it comes to food. Yeah, I'll listen.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so and Lily. So all right, what other for people that are so where else so you went to what is called the Brick? Did you say, Chris?
Yeah, the Brick on Front. It's maybe 2 blocks down, if that, walking distance. Yeah, and you would think to yourself, oh, well, if I walk down there, I'm going to miss a train. It's right in front of the track. So, like, if you're thinking you're going to miss a train that's coming with a Heritage Unit or something, you don't want to miss the action, you're not going to, because it's right there.
And this is a guy, Alex, that spends his days running locomotives for the Raritan Central Railroad.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Never give up.
So have you two guys ever met? Like, have you happened to been at the?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just that wheat trip, I was not expecting that. I was by myself on Sunday, just sitting there, and all of a sudden this car pulls up. I'm like, oh, who's this person? And I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, there we go.
And I think we met like for a hot minute somewhere before that, but I think that was the first. Well, we definitely talked at Springfield the last 2 years too, but that was, and Chris didn't say this, but he was on his laptop sorting out 3D printed parts and packaging them. That was how he spent at least some of his porch time.
That was the whole time there, actually. It was daylight was doing that stuff, which I could see, and then at night I was doing all the paperwork, drawings, and stuff like that. And then I'd wake up, have a great breakfast, talk to some people, see what's going on, and continue about my day doing the same thing.
It's a great place to just sit and work, honestly, because the trains are there. Like by the time you sort of need to take a break from whatever you're staring at on your screen, a train will come by and you can enjoy that and then get back into it.
Now, you are also a model railroader, correct, Alex?
That is true. I'm doing HO scale Conrail, not unlike Dave, but I'm focused on the Allentown and Bethlehem area where I grew up. And I've got a triple level shelf layout with 2 big pain in the butt helixes connecting it all together.
Yeah, triple level. You need to talk to a guy named John France, who's he started out with triple level and quickly triple level with 2 helixes. How often do you work on this layout?
Not often enough. But I do manage to get a fair amount done for the time that I spend on it.
Are you one of those guys that is a fairly fast worker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate those guys. Sometimes,
though, I have to redo it. Sometimes I'm too fast. I rushed it, and then I have to go back and fix it. But, I'll take my chances.
Okay. All right. Well, let's not forget, too, that White Rose Hobbies has a 10% off promo. I got to remember to say that.
Well, that's good.
It is good. And it is. Don't tell me. Let me guess. While I'm looking for it, I have a question for you as an HO scale modeler. Are you taking questions as an HO scale?
Sure.
Okay. So Chris has a excellent 3D printing business called Wallace Locomotive Works.
I'm very familiar.
Okay.
I'm a customer.
Okay, cool. Do you feel that how much would you be willing to spend for a package of 4 toilets in HO scale?
Toilets?
Yeah. 4. Now there's 4 of them. There's 4 in a package.
Are they clean or are they
too open, too closed?
Too open, too closed.
Do they come with the official smell of a locomotive cab?
No, these aren't. These are for interiors and structures.
Okay, so if they were scratch and sniff, I'd pay $10 for a pack of 4. But if they're unpainted models that I have to finish, I'd say maybe $5 or $6.
Exactly. Chris has them for sale for $3.
Well, that's because Chris knows what he's doing.
No, that's because Chris
painted white, ready to go. I just don't include the turds. So.
You paint them as well?
Yeah, those are painted white. Rattle can Tamiya Pure White, I think it is.
Wow,
some of the best paint ever.
That's at least $5.
That's at least $5. Exactly, painted and everything like that.
I go the extra mile.
I know you do. I know you go the extra mile. You go the extra mile times 10.
And you know what's funny is that design for the toilets actually, and this is no relation to how I got this design, but I was literally sitting at the station in that week, and I drew that up.
Sitting in the Pennsylvania room on the throne, looking at trains going by.
I offer TVs, And there's flat screen TVs, and you wouldn't notice, but I was literally looking at the TV that's in the common area, and I was sitting there drawing it as I was staring at it. And I think what Ethan, he's there quite often. Ethan is a kid that shows up from Allentown area, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh no, Evan."
Oh, Evan. Yeah, yes. Evan. Yep.
And Evan goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm just drawing this TV." He goes, "Why?" I'm like, "Because it's another product I want to offer." And I'm like, "This is a perfect way to get something done right now." I'm like, "I'm just going to stare at this TV." I'm like, "Now, do I do the legs? Do I not do the legs?" I'm like, I was looking at every little thing. And he's like, "Dude, you're crazy for staring at this thing. The trains are outside, not in here. What's the TV going to do?" But no, I was sitting there, like, most of those designs came from that week. But
so is it fair to say that your last stay at the Station Inn, where you were designing toilets, you had a shitty time?
I guess so. The only time you can there, they're drawing up toilets.
Well, if you eat too much of the fried bar food for a week, you end up having that. We lovingly call that phenomenon crescentary.
Oh, really?
That's great.
That's awesome.
I like that.
So tell us, both Chris and Daniel, before we started the podcast, were singing the praises of the breakfast. So you two, Daniel, give us a little insight into what's so special about this breakfast.
First, there's a lot of it.
Yeah.
You're not going to go away hungry. And chances are you're headed out for some rail fanning. If you're going to go beat around some of the other areas there, that breakfast will last you, for a late lunch sort of time frame. It's dang good. There's good savory stuff. There's sweet stuff. If you can't find something on that table, that you want to eat, then you are just way too picky. There's really no hope for you. But it's top notch. The coffee flows well and plentifully. And then the best part is it's served on this huge table where everybody else staying there is also down for breakfast. So there's just a lot of talk and fellowship around the table over fantastic breakfast, which is, honestly, it's how a lot more days ought to start. It's just good. It's really good.
It's amazing though. Like, you can sit there and you say you come out there by yourself and you're there for 3-4 days, and you have the whole inn booked up, and you're sitting at a table, like 10 people around you, couples from all over the world, possibly in the same state. People you may never know, and you're having breakfast with these people, sitting next to them, and you're like, oh, usually I don't do that type of thing, and you can have the best conversations you'd ever have. And
you make friends around that table.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
See, I've never had that experience, because apparently after 10 a.m. they don't serve breakfast.
That's true.
It's the whole staff that in the kitchen that's taking care of everything. It's just impressive, the stuff that they can do, and like I said, the food quality is just fantastic. And the sausage gravy has to be mentioned at least once in this episode.
It's a thing of beauty.
Oh, really?
There's just something about it.
Yes.
So for dinner tonight, I knew I was going to be on this podcast talking to Alex, and the wife is like, "We could do breakfast." I'm like, you know what? Some biscuits and gravy would be totally appropriate for my later podcast work. So yeah, I was thinking of you the whole time there, Alex. You're in while making breakfast for dinner.
I made breakfast for dinner for the kids tonight, and I didn't even think about that fact, but you're absolutely right. So I must have just been instinctively on the same vibe.
Yeah. Now, as somebody who enjoys their first thing out coffee, in the morning, I appreciate that the guy that was cooking breakfast had the coffee going. He's like, I'll have it by this time. And there was a pot ready when you stumbled down the stairway, and it was good to go.
Yes, that's very critical, because I'm the same way. Nothing happens without that first cup of coffee or second.
Yeah, the priorities were all correct.
Yes.
And my story is, just quickly, is that once I got cancer, I decided sleeping was going to be my number one priority if I had anything I could do to help myself get better. So from that, I learned to not get up. And the 2 or 3 times or 3 or 4 times I've been to the Station Inn and I roll out of bed at 10 or 10:30, there's always somebody there in the kitchen wanting to make me a full breakfast. And I always feel guilty. I'm like, no, just give me a bagel or toast or something. But I'm inside, I'm really going, yes, make me breakfast.
Totally.
It was really like when I first started going there, like there's a thing in New Jersey called pork roll, and it's that's going to probably cause a debate right there alone. And you could get pork roll sandwiches in the morning there on the rotation, and it's like one of the best things in the world. And it's fried ham, but it's just so good. And they like I said, they just do a great job. Everything on that menu is good. There's never a day where you go, oh, this again. It's like, oh, great, that's going to be fantastic. And if you don't like it, there's always, like you said, sweets. There's all different types of options for you, fruits, everything.
Now, is it a buffet style or sit down?
It's all sit down, but everything comes out on the plates, and you put there. It's like
family style.
That's right. Family style. So they hand the plates around.
Family style. So you get the platters and the plates, and
that's cool.
Yeah, see, Kelly, if you would take the time to go there, you would know this.
You know what?
Start driving now. You'll get there in a couple of months.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm watching it right now.
You're watching it?
Yeah, I'm watching the track out the camera.
Oh,
they have
all right. Has any trains gone by since you started watching?
No.
In the whole hour we've been doing this podcast, no trains have gone by?
Well, I just turned it on.
Oh, okay.
I saw that. I was looking at the menu.
Where was that? You were looking at the menu, and then you ended up watching trains.
The what's the icons that say, No,
I don't.
Availability, all the stuff they have to offer, and it said cameras and live cameras and audio.
If I ask you a question, will you give me an honest answer?
Sure.
You've been drinking heavily, right?
Yes, I have.
So where do you see you're on I'm on the main page of the website. Where do you see the thing about cameras?
Let me get back it
all
up.
Right. Are you backing up now?
Stream.
I don't see live stream. Where's that?
It's down on the bottom page.
Oh, okay. Bottom of the page.
Under about. And it says watch.
All right. I see artist in residence, the event space, the yard office lounge, watch and listen live, guest information. Wow, guest information. Do you have information about all the guests that have ever stayed there?
That's not what that is, no.
That's all. The rules.
Oh, okay.
That's right. The do's and don'ts.
Right about now, Alex is saying to himself, why do I keep coming back?
Remind me again why I signed up for this.
So, Alex, our podcasts are a little shorter now. We had an event back there at the end of January where things changed somewhat because I was talking. Everything that happens on the podcast, either bad or good, is usually because I've been talking and not filtering, just talking. So now the podcasts are a little shorter. So now what we're going to do is stop this one and start another one, which will be on tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. And because I want to ask you about the breakfasts. I want to ask you about how they're prepared and who's doing all the work, because that sounds like a lot of work for somebody. And we need to, these are questions that we need to know. And also, I think if you stick around, we're going to ask you a series of in-depth questions that is really going to discover the true Alex Lang.
Okay.
All right. Have you ever heard of the Kelly questions?
I have not.
Yeah. Well, you're in for a treat, buddy. And you know what? I was looking at this artist in residence thing. I'm thinking Julie Rockwell should be on the podcast, don't you?
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
I think so. I think she'd be pretty interesting to talk to, don't you?
She's very interesting, yes.
All right. Let's do that. Can I mention your name? Like, is it okay if I say, I learned about you from Alex?
Yeah, sure.
All right. You're okay if I throw your name about whenever I'm out and about?
You betcha.
Okay. Are you getting all ready for Springfield?
Yes. The contract is signed. We will be back at Springfield. That's such a good time. And knock on wood, I did not get sick. So
okay. And where did you end up? Where is your booth?
In the big building. These are things I should know and don't.
In the Better Living Center.
Thank you.
And whereabouts in the Better Living Center? You come in the main doors and you turn left or right or go straight ahead.
Go straight.
We were kind of dead center as you came in the building, which was great for traffic. It was a chilly place to be. I don't know if we're going to be in the same spot this year or not. I'm not quite sure how that's going to shake out.
Oh, okay. You're making trouble for Mr. Sacerdoti, or
yeah, well, we got the bright idea to do kind of a Pennsylvania collective sort of thing where the Everett Railroad, I think the Horseshoe Curve and Altoona Museum, us, and the East Broad Top, maybe. I should know these things. But anyway, we were going to try to put ourselves in one area and share a banner and things like that.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Who organized that? Was that your idea? Or?
No, you can tell it wasn't by how much I know about it.
Yeah. But so that's a pretty cool idea, though.
It is. And credit for that goes to Alan Maples over at the Everett Railroad, who is a true gentleman and a class act. So
he's the fellow
when you're staying at the Station Inn, go ride the Everett Railroad. They've got a lot of cool equipment, and they know how to make you feel welcome just as well as we do.
And how far from the Station Inn is the Everett Railroad?
About 20 minutes drive. Unless you drive like me, then it's 15.
Why do you just kind of go cross country at intersections and stuff? You just cut the corner. And...
Yeah, I like to take the most advantage of physics that I possibly can.
If you go that back road, it's this very scenic drive.
And you can go 70 on it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go. 70 kilometers.
Exactly. That's what I said.
Yeah, that's what you said. Exactly. All right. That's it. So, okay. So what was just so we can plug our sponsor one more time, whiterosehobbies.com, right there in York, Pennsylvania at 4401 West Market Street. And their phone number is 717-505-8676. Kelly, I got a great idea for you on your off time. Why don't you write a jingle about White Rose Hobbies?
Oh man, you're oh jeez. You really want this podcast to end?
Yeah. Or you know what? You and I'll do it together, and it'll be even worse.
Oh, Kelly writing jingles. What could go wrong there?
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong?
Well, we could do something like Abbott and Costello, who's on first.
Right, there you go.
I got to tell you, Lionel, the Google tells me that it's only 2 hours and 34 minutes from the Station Inn to White Rose Hobbies. So whether you're going to us or from them, you can fit them both in the same trip.
Sweet. Yeah. Now we're getting somewhere. Now, can I mention your name to Alan Maples?
Sure.
Okay. You seem pretty confident that me mentioning us having an association isn't going to hurt your business at all.
You're reading too much into that.
That's it. I think we're done. So,
okay.
Kelly, can you give out our email address?
Yes, I can give out the email. Our email address is modelerslife@gmail.com. That's modeler with one L, like Pennsylvania, not two L's, like Alex Lang.
Ooh, sweet.
That was great.
Okay, here's how well I think I know you now, Kelly.
Yeah.
I think you had the two L's early on in the show. You had started working on the email thing and trying to figure out what to say, and you had Alex Lang early on. But the single L, you kind of stumbled on that one. I feel like you had the two L's first, and then you came around and picked out Pennsylvania.
It was tough trying to find that single L.
Yeah, I could tell. That was really stressed you out a little bit. You got to be careful of the old ticker there, Kelly.
My ticker's sort of fine. We were cutting. Just a little side note: we were cutting a tree down at the park because it was dead, and between cutting up the branches and everything else, I had to sit down numerous times because it was just couldn't catch my breath.
Well, you got to start walking. You got to start walking. You got to exercise.
I'm always walking there.
Okay, but go for a walk after work, or go for a walk around your block or your neighborhood. If you're out of breath, you got to start walking. Get some exercise.
Yeah. Well, I've lost weight, so
okay. Do you know where? Good. Do you know where it went?
I don't know where some of it went, but the rest of it's hanging down. So it's got to be
okay. Now you've just.
I got this flab now. You know, this before my wife.
Now you're just grossing us all out.
That's true.
I'm sorry, Alex. You had to be part of this.
Well, you know.
Okay, and if you didn't catch our email address, if you go to our website, amodelerslife.com, and scroll down just a little bit, our buddy Derek added a widget, and you can fill out the email there, and you don't even need to know the address. All you do is fill out the email and hit send, and boom, we will get your email. And the other thing is, if you like this podcast, which is on the free channel, so go to the Station Inn. I never even mentioned the White Rose promo code. Hang on a minute. I got to go find that.
Nope, you never found it.
I never looked. I got talking about something else. I'm like the last guy on the planet that should have a podcast. I'm not capable.
Well, this was a really interesting one. So, it's easy to see how you got sidetracked.
Oh, okay.
Don't sell yourself short. It's a good podcast.
Well, yeah, and apparently Derek thinks that a lot of the others aren't that interesting. Because this one was interesting, he said. You kind of hurt me there, Derek. Or not Derek. Daniel.
Dan?
Daniel.
No. This one was on the exceptional level. They're all good.
Oh, okay.
Or at least marginally adequate.
There you go. That's the other thing we've discovered, Alex, that we've discovered about the podcast. And really, this is since we've really only discovered this in the year 2025 over all the stuff we've had to deal with over the year 2025. Here's what we've discovered about the podcast. It's chronically disappointing.
Well done.
Yeah.
Okay, that promo code is WRH does not sell flowers 10. So WRH does not sell flowers and then the number 10. And the reason they do that, Alex, is because there used to be a company in the Toronto area called White Rose Nurseries that was huge. And so for a long time, I would refer to White Rose Hobbies as White Rose Nurseries. Again, because the podcast is chronically disappointing. That's got to be a T-shirt. That's got to be a T-shirt. And then if you like this podcast on the free channel and you'd like twice as much podcasting every week, if you go to our Patreon channel for just a few cents a day, you can have twice as much podcasting. On the Tuesday show, you're going to find out that it's even more laid back and more fun and very uncensored. And as you discover, one of the things we're going to do is we're going to ask Alex the Kelly questions, which you're really going to find out more and more about him. And if you move up to the T-shirt level, then you've entered into the game that's sweeping the globe. Hey, dude, where's my shirt? Because everybody at the T-shirt level once a year gets a free T-shirt. The key is, when is that year? Everybody gets their T-shirts. It's just that the guy that's in charge of sending them out he's incapable, really, basically. He's
chronically disappointing.
Yeah, he's chronically disappointing. Do you have any way to record this podcast, Daniel?
Sorry, it was just right there. I couldn't let it go.
You could have. No, you could have. You could have let it go. All right, that's it. We're done. So I think, Alex, we're going to consider this to be an episode. So at the appropriate moment, we're going to need you to say happy rails to you.
Okay.
All right. So as Alex, as we close the barn doors on another episode of A Modeler's Life and the sun slowly sets over the back 40, I guess there's nothing else to do except for you to say
happy rails to you.
While in Busted Knuckle, guests of A Modeler's Life podcast stay at the Casa del Sol Motor Court and Inn, where late-night dancing at the Rumba Room is a magical event to be experienced.
It's another Lincoln Homer.
That was beautiful. It brought
a tear to my eye.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, exactly. Sniff, 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 sniff.